Hello and welcome back, Eddie Radosevich. George Stoya here from the SoonerScoop.com studios. Just wrapping up final press conference for Brent Venables here for the regular season. Oklahoma wrapping up the regular season, obviously, on Saturday down in Baton Rouge, 6:30. Very excited for this trip. We'll have a little bit more on Thursday on your Thanksgiving on the game day preview. Looking forward to getting to know the Tigers a little bit more. I think they're going through some of the stuff that Oklahoma's gone through, obviously, over the course of this season. But great opportunity. Here we are again with Oklahoma and the word opportunity going into Saturday.
Yeah, should be a good one. I think this is going to be a really close game. I know we'll get into some of it in the game day preview in terms of the matchup and also just how tough it is to win at Death Valley.
Not many people do.
Brent was reading off some of the stats of it today, and you're like, oh boy, they're heading kind of into a buzzsaw this week. But it was good hearing from Brent. I thought it was his best press conference of the year. It's up there with a couple others. I can't remember which week it was where he just kind of vented for like an hour. That one was awesome.
I think that was after the South Carolina game, possibly.
Yeah, but this one was good. I thought it was really revealing in a lot of ways, whether it was stuff about Xavier Robinson, which we'll get into a little bit later in the show, or the offensive coordinator search, or even his defense and how well they've played this season.
No doubt, and they're coming off their best performance possibly in maybe more than a decade at Oklahoma. Obviously, Oklahoma shut down Jalen Milroe and the Crimson Tide offense. The question was asked on Tuesday by Eric Bailey from the Tulsa World. Is this an elite defense? I know that's being thrown out there, and here's Brent Venables' answer.
I'm very careful to use that word. That was an elite performance. And just true serum, we gotta win on 3rd and 16, 2 weeks ago. And that's to take nothing away from where we're at, what we've accomplished, and what we're capable of. I believe in these guys. I wouldn't trade them for anybody. I love how they're playing. I love how they prepare. I love the passion, the leadership, the physical toughness, the mental toughness, the humility. I can brag on these guys for a long time, and let's see what the season's body of work looks like. And that's what I would say. They're not going to be without fault. They're not going to make every play. They're not going to make every stop in order to be an elite defense. But they've done a lot of things that you would associate, with an elite defense. They have done that. I love the improvement that I've seen them have this season. I've had plenty of seasons where we didn't get better, and you hate that. And this is a season that these guys have continued to come to work in a really tough, challenging. You guys have probably written stories about it. I know you've asked me questions about it. Well, how's the defense not point fingers? How do they not give up on the other side of the ball? Or how do they stay motivated? And for me, it's easy. We focus on our standards. We focus on things that we can control. Zion Kearney or Jackson Arnold or Bauer Sharp, they're not going to sack the quarterback. They're not going to stop anybody in the A gap. They're not going to play the post. They're not going to stay in the half field. So we need to focus on things that we can control. But I've been really proud and thankful. I love the maturation. I love the youth that's adding with the veterans. Our best players and our oldest guys are playing their best football, and that's really cool to see. And they show up every day with great pride and great respect for how we do what we do, and I love how they're pouring into their teammates on the other side of the ball too, supporting them, encouraging them, challenging each other every day. The offense has had plenty of success against the defense at practice and are good on good stuff, and man, there's a mutual respect, and I love how they're challenging each other every day to get better. So they have a lot of the characteristics that, again, you would associate, again, with an elite group. I think their performance and the improvement from where we ended last year to where we're at right now, man, there's a lot to be to salute to and to give them props for.
Oklahoma allowing just 311 yards per game. That is the least amount of yards Oklahoma's allowed, or the fewest amount of yards that they've allowed per contest in almost 15 years.
Wow.
We talked about in August, going into the season, really, could this defense take that next step from the second to third year? And certainly it appears that they have, coming off their best performance.
They've been spectacular. And we've said it time and again this season. They have been really, really good in a lot of ways. They've, kept OU in a lot of games that they probably shouldn't have been in, considering how bad the offense has been. And then I think they took it to another level. And that's kind of what Brent was saying is like, look, they've been really, really good this year. They were elite on Saturday against Alabama. And again, you read all the stats off from that game, the fewest points scored by Alabama since I think 2004, like all of those things. It's crazy the type of game they put together. But then if you watched them all year, it's really not. And what's encouraging too, Eddie, is like Brent said, you're seeing development from guys like Danny Stutzman, Billy Bowman, these guys, Ethan Downs, who are now in their fourth year, third year in the Venables system. But then you're also seeing these freshmen. You're seeing a lot of young guys step up, guys that are going to be back next season that can really take this thing to a whole nother level next year.
They've been put into some really bad spots, obviously, because of the offense and the struggles. And so you've rebuilt one side of the ball in the defense, and now you're going to have to do it on the offensive side of the ball. Brent Venables was asked today by Barry Trammell, is it easier to rebuild an offense than it is a defense?
Wow, that's a great question. My first answer would be yes. That's my inclination. Only, I use this reference that with this defense that for a decade wasn't very good, and everything that comes with that mindset, culture, roster, the things that you had to tear down and start over with there, developing, the confidence and what that vision looks like was a really challenging thing. Having perspective and knowing what excellence looks like, but also being able to affirm improvement, which I'm not very good at. But we still stink, was what I wanted to say, but you can't, you're dealing with a fragile group a few years ago and how hard they were working. That part was easy to affirm them, hey man, you guys are doing the right things. We weren't very good. I think, being right at the right positions, having good play at the right positions offensively, you can build around and maybe have success quicker, and to build on the play off of the strengths that we had. But none of it's easy. But I think that's fair to say, and I think that we've shown when we don't take care of the ball, it doesn't look very good. But when we have taken care of it with a young, inexperienced, injured group of guys, we can still win games. We've got to be good in the right spots around them. Kicking game, the field position, defense, and so we've proven that. And with the continued development, I think we've seen that. Again, we can have that type of performance. I don't assume that's going to happen week in and week out if we just take care of the ball, but we showed against a really good team that's playing as good as anybody in the country what we can do when we put it all together and play a little cleaner on offense.
Perhaps frustrating to the Oklahoma fans out there. It seems like it's in there. You saw it on Saturday. How do you unlock that? And obviously it's going to be up to a new offensive coordinator, correct? And this is where we get to the Georgie boy portion of the press conference. You asked him, though, preference on air raid. There's so many different styles of offense that you can choose from. And to a certain extent, you get to redo it hiring the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because we talk about all these candidates that Oklahoma is looking at. Ben Arbuckle, who's an air raid guy, Cade Bell at Pitt, who I think is also kind of air raid, also has some spread tendencies in him, a lot like Jeff Lebby. Then you have a Joe Craddock guy who runs the pro style, which you're seeing a lot more teams start to run a more pro style offense in college football. And then you look at what Oklahoma did on Saturday against Alabama: run the football, control the clock. Game control and all those sorts of things. You're like, well, maybe they would want to go after somebody that maybe is a little bit more, run the ball heavy instead of air raid where they throw the ball around the field. And I just, think it's interesting. Which direction does Brent want to go? Because he had a lot of success with Jeff Lebby, who is up tempo, spread the field out, screen passes, jet sweeps, take the deep shots down the field. But I think he could also have a lot of success in the SEC in particular, maybe running a different type of offense. So while they're going through the search and some of the candidates that we've heard, I thought that his answer to my question was kind of revealing in terms of what exactly is he looking for in an offense moving forward.
Here is Brent Venables.
Yeah, it's one that's efficient, that's going to attract great players, that has a reputation in a scheme-friendly system that's going to attract, great quarterbacks and skill guys, running backs, tight ends, receivers. That's, I think, really important. How can we win? What style of offense that we can win in this league? So you look at the styles through the years that have been successful, and we've seen them all. Something that that can transition quickly with the roster that we have. And again, we do know that you can quickly change a roster, through the current systems that we have in college football. But something that gives you the right kind of balance: run, pass, efficiency, ball control, explosiveness, quarterback friendly. To me, you look at systematically something that you don't have to have a generational 5-star best quarterback in the portal every year to have a really successful, efficient offense that gives us a chance to win our conference, compete at the highest level, to be an offense that can do its part to help us get to the playoffs and win. And so I don't mind having a generational 5-star best guy in the country at quarterback, but something that maybe people have proven have some type of a track record that shows that, man, we lose that guy, this is an offense that still produces and puts stress on a defense and scores points, moves the ball. Yardage may or may not be important. Again, we look at the things I just said: efficiency in all the right spots, good in the red zone, good on third, fourth down, has good ball control. Can make the explosive plays, can win games, do the things that's necessary to win games. But I like an offense that has some flexibility and win different ways. And so if that looks like 5 wides, and that looks like ninja, if that looks like I-backs, if that looks like 13 and 14 personnel, if that looks like 12 personnel, all things are certainly under consideration. But again, I look at what does it take to win and compete in our league. Against the best teams.
Certainly didn't really necessarily say this is what I want, but you did ask, and I thought this was a really interesting follow-up, because you did see how they played on Saturday. I kind of got the feeling that Brent loved that.
Yeah, I mean, I think how could you not?
Sure.
When the offense is maybe not always scoring points, but controlling the ball, running the clock, giving your defense a break, right? Like even early in that game, when they didn't convert those possessions into points, they're moving the ball, right? And they're chewing up some time. And so I feel like that's a recipe for success. When you have a defense this good, if you have an offense that maybe isn't, high flying, high powered, putting up a ton of yards every week, that's okay, right? If you have a defense that's good, that is that good. Now, I think on the flip side, he does want to score a lot of points,
sure,
right? Brent's not
makes
naive.
Everybody's life easier.
Yeah, so I think that there has to be some sort of balance there, and that's where it gets tricky, because some of these offensive coordinators that we're talking about are all a little bit different in terms of what they want to do.
We'll get to Brent Venables' answer to George's question about the perspective and does things change going in or coming out of the Alabama game. But first, we need to tell you about our good friends over at homefieldapparel.com. Right now, they are doing a 30% off site-wide sale using the promo code BFCM24. BFCM24, 30% off site-wide. It runs through Tuesday, December 3rd. So if you're looking to pick up a couple items, I know there's a lot of people that are doing a lot of shopping here over the next month before Christmas and the holiday season. Go check out our friends over at homefieldapparel.com. Obviously, got a bunch of stuff as the weather gets cool. See the hoodies there. Got the 90s pullover, which has been, I know, something that a lot of people have liked, as well as the retro coach's helmet, as Carrie points there. That'd be a good look, when it gets a little bit rainy out. So all you got to do, just go to homefieldapparel.com, 30% off, site-wide sale, promo code BFCM24. Back to Brent Venables and what he had to say on Tuesday at his press conference, and talking about, does his perspective change on what type of offense Oklahoma wants to run in 2025 with the new offense coordinator coming out of the Alabama game.
That's a great way to win. I don't think that isn't been in alignment with what we wanted before. I think this staff has done a really good job the last month of, taking kind of a messy situation for all the right reasons, not just, okay, Coach Venables made a mistake, if you will, and I hired the wrong guy. It obviously wasn't the right guy. And I don't want to. It's not centered on Seth. I failed, and I own that. I'm not. That's not earth-shattering news. Okay, now I got it. What I got to do to fix it, and so what do we have to do as a staff now? And I think this staff has done a really good job of trying to figure that out, get better every week, put together a great game plan, but also figure out, okay, what does this group of guys, what is this team, what can we do? And what do we need to do this week? Because what we need to do this week might look a little different than what we needed to do or what we could do a week ago. That's the facts. That's just week in and week out. It's all maybe a little bit different. But I really, again, what they were able to do and keep Alabama off balance, and the efficiency, the physicality, the precision, the discipline that we played with on offense, and how that aligned with what we were doing, on defense. That's certainly what you wanted at the end result is what you want it to look like.
Certainly, I think it's what we all said at the time when they had to make the move coming out of the South Carolina game. But to hear Brent say and talk about Seth Luttrell's hire like that, I don't know. It was kind of eye-opening.
Yeah, look, I think we all knew he knew that, right? But for him to come out and say it, I think says something, and especially when you talk about what he's going to have to do here in the next week or so in hiring an offensive coordinator. All of the decisions that go into that and the ripple effect of what that hire means for this program moving forward, I think it's pretty clear he understands that. And I think what he's saying in his answers to both of my questions are, we have to find somebody that can do whatever it takes to win, whether that's running the football, throwing the football in a game where maybe you have to score a ton of points, or being able to run out the clock like they did on Saturday night, where they take the ball over with 7 minutes left in the game and they just run out the clock.
Sure.
Like that's something that obviously Brent wants to be able to do. So whoever can give them that balance and fully believes in their scheme. Because I think one thing, Eddie, and we've talked about this on different shows and podcasts and stuff this year, it didn't feel like everyone was on the same page in terms of what they wanted to do offensively this year. And I think one thing that you've seen since Joe John's taken over, it seems to be there's a lot more clear message or game plan or whatever it is about what they're trying to do offensively. And I think moving forward, you have to find somebody, whoever that is, that fully believes in their scheme and isn't going to, change it or do something different just because they're at Oklahoma or because of, certain personnel, which you do want them to fit to what the personnel they have, but somebody that is fully 100% behind their scheme, whereas it didn't feel like that was ever, felt like they were trying to marry things this year, and it just never really worked.
We talking about the same 4 names that keep coming up during this OC search. I know that they're going to be doing some interviews. You reported on SoonerScoop.com about maybe this thing kind of wraps up here the next 7-10 days.
Yeah, I think so. I still think that the timeline of trying to get it done before signing day, December 4th, is what Oklahoma's going to try and do. We'll see if that comes together, but the names are still the same. Ben Arbuckle at Washington State, obviously a very strong candidate, fits a lot of what Oklahoma's looking for. Could maybe bring his quarterback with him, John Mateer. Joe Craddock at Tulane. He's up for several other jobs. I think Oklahoma's still interested in him. I know he's the leading candidate, I believe, at Wisconsin right now, which is open. Florida State's been another place that's mentioned him. Cade Bell at Pitt has kind of come on late. He's been an interesting name. I know that he's interviewed for the job a couple times now, and is somebody that Oklahoma is interested in. He's had a huge turnaround at Pitt this year offensively. And then Buster Faulkner at Georgia Tech. Now, he's a really interesting one. We haven't heard a lot about him, or maybe we haven't talked about him as much as some of the other guys, but he checks damn near every box, Eddie, that Oklahoma's looking for. SEC experience. He kind of runs an air raid system, but really runs the ball, running quarterback. Georgia Tech's had a lot of success on the ground under his leadership. So if you're looking to run the ball a little bit more, maybe Buster Faulkner is a guy that could really get in the mix too here this week.
And certainly recruits the state of Oklahoma. His 2025 quarterback commitment, Grady Adamson, the 2025 quarterback out of Deer Creek that we highlighted on the recruiting report on Monday. Number of freshmen have kind of made their mark on this season. Eli Bowen had the big play over the last 2 games, last 8 quarters. It's been Xavier Robinson, the true freshman out of Carl Albert.
He's been awesome, and I think that Brent talked about it a little bit today, but just his development, growth as a player, I think has been tremendous to see. And he came in with some bad weight, and I'm doing a feature story on him this week. Talked to Mike Dunn, the head coach over at Carl Albert, who's had a lot of really talented players come through there.
Yeah.
He says Xavier's
powerhouse.
Yeah, he says Xavier's right up there with the best of them, and he's somebody that I think he was telling me he ran 4.4 in high school.
Damn.
And at that size, to be running at 4.4 is pretty insane. And he goes, and you haven't even really seen him out of the backfield yet, catching passes the way that he can. I know that Carl Albert used him a lot that way. So I think that his future is really bright, and he's certainly somebody that, as an offense, when we talk about the future of this thing, he's somebody that I feel like you can kind of build around.
Averaging 5.8 yards a carry, 192 yards over the last 2 weeks, really. And really, it was just 5 quarters, fourth quarter up in Columbia. And then obviously his career high marks and basically everything on Saturday against Alabama. Brent Venables did talk about his true freshman running back on Tuesday.
Yeah. Again, he's in line, and we talked about a little bit last night on our show. Had an okay spring. I don't want to sound mean, but I'm telling you the truth. There was a little bit of struggle, his weight issue, and just being consistent, knowing what to do. His head was spinning a little bit, fumbled the ball a lot when he got some opportunities. You get limited opportunities as a freshman. Eli got limited opportunities. When he got in there, he did well. And that's how you earn trust and earn opportunity. And again, you're coming in a room that was returning some good players. And then early in the year, I just said that we averaged 112 yards. Anybody that got in didn't look great, but we did get there were some signs that Javante Barnes was coming back in good form. And Taylor Tatum got in the game early in the year, and he actually looked good. Just we didn't look consistent. And we averaged 112 yards, and so, but through some guys getting banged up and a change in the coordinator, he did get some opportunity, and when he got in, he did well. Also, Xavier didn't have this amazingly smooth start. Eli Bowen and Jaden Jackson, on the other hand, they came in, they knew the playbook. They took great detail, or took to the meetings with great detail, prepared. When they got in as freshmen in the spring, they did really well. You heard us brag on those guys at that time. Limited amount of opportunity, but those opportunities grew because of when they did get their small window of opportunity, they really capitalized on that, and Xavier took him a little longer to do that. But thank goodness, right? Better late than never. And DeMarco finally smartened up, and I'm just having some fun. Give me a break, right? I need to be able to do that just a little bit. I have, trust me, I ask the same questions, and but anyway, we're doing our best right now, but it's great to see him having some success. And if Taylor, if he takes care of the ball, man, that can be a heck of a tandem. And then Javante comes back, and now we get Gavin coming back, being healthy off of his thigh. Man, that can be a heck of a room, and we've known that all year. We're hopeful for that, and but we got to take care of the ball. We know that, and but we. Just getting a little bit better, and it was great. It's 3 straight weeks. I think Maine and at Missouri, and then here against Alabama. Playing his best football as a freshman here at the end of the year. So thankful for him sticking with it and continue to come to practice every day and getting better. And Coach Murray and the staff giving him an opportunity. So that's been really good to see.
When you're going to go back and look at the 2024, season or the product that was offensively, you can say that they have maybe found something on the ground game here over the last couple of weeks. I know that Alabama had a lot of success in Death Valley against LSU. We'll get into a little bit more of that on the game day preview on Thursday here on the SoonerScoop.com YouTube channel. I will say, for all the good that the vibes around the program right now, Brent did disclose on Tuesday that it doesn't sound like good news for Deion Burks or Jalil Farouk.
Yeah, no, I don't think either guy's going to play on Saturday. It also feels like Deion might be headed to the NFL. Brent said today that, he's going to be drafted highly and he could have a really good draft
I was
grade.
unaware of the concussion issues coming in from Purdue.
Neither did I. And so when you have those concussion problems, he's had some injury history. You wondered, does a guy like that want to just try and take his chance at the NFL and go ahead and go? We'll see. I'm sure we'll find out here in the next week or so, maybe a couple weeks on what his decision's going to be. His family situation, I'm sure, also maybe plays a factor into that in terms of, it sounds like, his family's doing well, but they're, living in a hotel right now with the house burning down and stuff like that. But as far as Jalil Farouk, he re-injured his foot against Missouri. I think it also kind of popped back up this last week, preparing for the Alabama
Catch
game.
a break, man. I feel terrible for him.
He's had some bad luck. I do get the sense that he's going to come back next year. We'll see. I don't think he's made that decision yet. He's going to be able to redshirt. Obviously, he's only played in a couple games this year. I'm sure that he's kind of wait and see on the whole offense coordinator situation. What's it look like at quarterback as well? All of those things factor in, but I do get the sense that he's somebody that would like to maybe come back next year if he can.
Certainly will be an elder statesman in that wide receiver room for Emmett Jones.
I think they would definitely welcome him back. For sure.
100%. Because I go back to last year. It's like outside of the fumbles, or the fumble in the Alamo Bowl, he had a really good year, a really positive year that we talked about going all the way back into the offseason.
And it looked like he was going to have a huge year this year. First play of the season or whatever, and then all of a sudden he's out. So I'm hoping that he's a great guy. So I hope he comes back, and I think he'd be a great benefit to OU too in that room.
That entire room's just been snake bit. It's been unbelievable in 2024 in the wide receiver room. I think that we've all been in this, kind of space before. You're hungry. You've been doing stuff all day. And Brent Venables did disclose on Monday night's coach's show that he took his daughters and some of her friends to Taco Bell for a $94 order. He went into a little bit more of it on Tuesday.
Everything that looked good on the menu. So here's what a coach goes through on game day, at least me. I'm a workout early morning, have a great breakfast, and then maybe have a smoothie or something. Just closer to get to game day, you don't want to take a nap. So by the time I'm done with the radio show and a night game, and with the media and with the recruits and with the players and the staff, and get in the car and get home, I'm ready to chew an arm off of somebody. So girls say go to Taco Bell. Man, let's go. And it's a long line, but man, it was worth the wait. It was so long I had to go inside and go to a bathroom break while we waited for the food. We had to pull over. We ordered so much food they couldn't get it all ready. We ordered everything, and whatever they had put inside of a tortilla, the crunchy stuff, man, it's really, I have no idea what it was. And but we smashed that and had some fun. But anyway, it's good.
I think you and I might be a little bit more familiar with the Taco Bell menu than Brent Venables. I think
I'm guessing he doesn't eat it often.
No, Jeremy Poplin said on Twitter, I think it's even more funny when you hear somebody that isn't familiar with the fast food industry talk about the fast food industry, but kind of some good vibes. And Kerry Murdoch does report the Mexi Melt, is that what you said, is back on the app. It is back.
Free ad.
Not sponsored, but, let us know. I'm sure we could all use a chicken quesadilla at one point.
I haven't had, I guess the last time I had Taco Bell was, what game was it that Kerry had it?
After the game, it was like Tulane maybe, or Houston.
It was good.
All right, we ran $60.
Wow.
We probably need to step it up a little bit.
That
if
was
we
a
want
lot
to
of
get
food
up to
too
$100.
that we got.
It was a lot of food.
So I know that he had his two daughters with him, and then I think just a car full.
Yeah, I think there was 4 or 5 of them that came into the press conference room after the game.
So I think it wasn't just Brent and his 2 daughters.
Yeah, sure.
Eating all that Taco
No,
Bell.
it was a lot of them. It was a lot of them. So that's going to do it. Oh, Brent Venables was named the Paul Bear Bryant Coach of the Week.
Zach Alley.
And Zach Alley,
Broyles Award.
Frank Broyles Award. So they put out the nominees. How many did you say there
65.
were?
65. So there's
65. They condensed that down to 15 semifinalists, and then 5 finalists make it to the reception and dinner and stuff that they have over in Arkansas.
Zach Alley has done a phenomenal job. He is more than deserving to be a nominee. I don't think he'll probably make it to semifinalist or finalist just because a lot of times it's based on the team performance in terms of record-wise and competing for championships and stuff like that. But two
other notable names on that nominee list, Ben Arbuckle at Washington State as well as Joe Craddock at Tulane.
Correct. Yep, both are on there. Obviously candidates for the offensive coordinator job. So it feels like OU's looking at the right people.
Sure.
When you talk about guys that are on that type of a list.
It's all going to be coming together here as we enter the first week of December. Obviously, you got to get through the November 30th, the final regular season game for Oklahoma, and we'll be down there. I really am excited about this. I think that when you talk about the legend, or just college football in general, the legend that is Death Valley on a Saturday night should be a lot of fun. I just want to hear Neck over and over and over again.
I think you'll hear that, and maybe some boos for Brian Kelly. I know that a lot of their fans were chanting "Fire Brian Kelly" at the Vanderbilt game this past
good.
week. So
everybody's in a real welcoming spirit, huh?
Yeah.
Sounds good. Real quick, before we get out of here, just the schedule. Everything here on the SoonerScoop.com YouTube channel will stay the same, even with the holiday and all that kind of stuff. Wednesday, Unofficial 40, as well as the game day preview coming up on Thursday. We'll be hitting the road on Friday morning to head down to Baton Rouge.
It's going to be a fun drive, you and me.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And the family business had head coach Porter Moser on the show, Joe and Isaac, and really good conversation. Obviously, it's a little bit of a test week here for Oklahoma as they head down to the Bahamas, taking on Providence on Wednesday at 4 o'clock in the opening round of the Battle for Atlantis. Win, lose, we'll see. Davidson, Arizona. Those are the two teams that would be on the opposite side of, or I guess on their side of the bracket, if you will. You guys know how to use a bracket, I'm sure. All right, for George, I'm Eddie. We'll see you right back here on the SoonerScoop.com YouTube channel.